Costa. Phil Neville makes the tackle. Rui Costa! Oh, Portugal have scored! Rui Costa!
Welcome to another episode of the Football Weekly Podcast. I'm your co-host, Reginald Dino, alongside Joe. So much to talk about, Joe. So little time. It's almost like we have to do this show daily in order to keep up with everything that's going on.
Yeah, there's lots going on. Sometimes the rumors are true, they're not true, but yeah, sometimes there's things come up when we're not going to record, we're not going to be on, with you. So yeah, there's always something we miss, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've had two big games for our clubs. I don't know if one of them's definitely a derby, Inter versus AC or Milan. We'll get into that. Manchester City played Arsenal at the Emirates. We'll get into that. We always start off in Europe, Joe. Today we're going to start off in North America, our home team town, Toronto FC. MLS season is 10 days away, I believe. The 22nd, I believe it starts up.
Yeah, end of February, yeah.
Yeah, so we have before we get into that, I was thinking about this today, actually, because MLS is trying to, or they want to change the season time to match the Europeans. So they want to have an August to May, June type of season. Feasible, North America?
Selfishly, I think we want it, don't we? I prefer it. You mean like in terms of look at our climate, look at Toronto.
Are you going out? Are you going out today at 8:00 to watch a game tonight?
That's a tough question for me because I don't even like going to 25 degrees sometimes Celsius. It's where the stadium is.
Yeah, for sure.
But in all seriousness, I think, do we not have the means to make a stadium that's, almost as indoor as possible? And don't we have the technology to figure this out? Where you could have a grass pitch that's, mostly covered, Reggie? I think it's time. I just think it's time. I think it's time. We want to make this league on par with what we're seeing in Europe and so on. I think the league's almost coming on 30 years, 29 years, I think, Reg, something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's 30 years. I think something has to be done to make it. We've come such a long way in MLS. And I think we're on the brink of making this league, in terms of how it looks, the players that are coming to play here, and the product, as close to a European. Europe is the model because of the money and what we're looking at it, and that's not to discard South America or Africa and other places in Asia, but we want to make that jump to where that league is. It's come so far. Can we keep going? I am in favor. Is it feasible because of the climate challenges? For sure. But the technology has to be there where we can have a grass stadium here when it's not fully outside. I don't know.
Well, two things with that, Joe. I know when you come into the MLS as an expansion team, I think I can't remember if it's the first couple of years, you have to have a soccer specific stadium. So if you just built a soccer specific stadium, say somewhere like New York, I think there's out of Yankee Stadium now, aren't they? Are they still there?
NYCFC is, but I think they're building one.
Right.
Of course, we have, in the same breath you mentioned New York. Yes, I know they play in New Jersey, right? But Red Bull Arena is top notch, isn't it? It's one of the best stadiums.
But does that have a roof kind of making it indoor?
I want to say yes, but it might not be totally. But can it be revamped? I just think, Reg, you could have a winter break, like Germany has a winter break. I think they still do, right, Reggie? I believe
they do. Germany, I believe Germany, Italy, Spain. The only place that plays all year round is England.
Yeah, I don't even think Italy and Spain still kind of do it. I think they play, but it's Germany that has more of a winter. So even if we took 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off,
It's not going to help in December or January here, Joe. You see Toronto trying to redo BMO Field for the World Cup. Now imagine they have to make some type of indoor or even build another 25, 30 seat stadium for those 2 months, or they have to revamp BMO again to make it kind of indoor. Who's going to pay for that? I know who's going to pay for that. I don't want to pay for it, Joe. So I don't know if it's feasible as far as the weather, the climate, and what the league is going to have to do, especially the East Coast teams. Miami, the California teams, they're fine with it. But Chicago, New York, Toronto, New England, like everybody has to revamp their stadium for this. I don't know if it's feasible, Joe.
So the fan in me wants it done. When we look at logistically, could it be done? I mean, we're kind of saying we essentially are saying our answers, but it would be nice if it could be done because
that would mean the weather's fantastic here, and I would love the weather to be fantastic in January and February. But it's Canada, it's Toronto, it is what it is. No one's playing soccer outside. It's minus 12 right now, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna get about 400 centimeters of snow in the next 2 days. But
that's right.
Yeah, I again, selfishly, I would want something to happen. I know that our climate isn't feasible like that, and I think it's specific to Canada because I think you could make it work. Even it's hard. I mean, you look at a stadium, even like places like Salt Lake City and Denver, Colorado. I mean, they could do it. They sometimes don't get as much as us, but man, it would be nice. It would be nice. So you're saying no. I'm probably thinking with my heart and not with my head, but I would like to see it. I think your question, feasible? I guess not. Sure wish it would be.
Well, to even come up with the idea to do it it's a great idea because when international breaks come, the MLS still plays. So you're taking the best players from the league that go and represent their national team, and there's still games going on in the league. So yeah. I mean, if our Italian players were good enough to make their national team, those two are gone. Sorio's gone. Lorea's gone. How are we going to cope? But I mean, it's a great idea, and for that reason, you want to change the league so everything meshes together and we can take the international breaks at the same time, no problem. But you're gonna have a problem when you come to the East Coast, and I don't think you can do it, Joe. I don't think you can do it. You might be able to try it, but I think it's gonna fail because again, it's not just an indoor stadium. I'm not coming home from work at 6 o'clock and then getting back in my car minus 15 to go drive down to BMO. I'm not doing it. I won't do it.
I think that's the issue. You mentioned earlier just now. If we can mesh the international breaks to make sure that they are at the same time, it's just the legitimacy of it. No one's saying that MLS is not legitimate. Of course it is. Of course it is. I just think with the sponsorship, with the corporate, part of this, if you will, and how far the league has come, you would think that the two steps that are crucial and have to be looked at are what you've said, the schedule being looked at, revamped, altered. And of course, the other thing is promotion relegation.
Yeah. Well, that would be nice, Joe.
Whole different animal, but I think what I'm saying is maybe we're closer to that than we are to changing the schedule.
I'd be in favor of, Joe. Promotion relegation in MLS, definitely. And I think that's something that they should be looking at before they start changing the schedule around.
Yeah, and I just think we might be closer with promotion relegation than changing the schedule. But the realist in me says we're probably far away in both.
Yeah.
Realistically. So
I don't know why it hasn't been done yet. Like you said, 30 years in, this should have been done year 5. Should have been done.
Well, you just want the breakaway shootout to come back.
I want those old LA Galaxy jerseys to come back too, but we can't have it all.
Actually, those are actually really nice.
Or the Metro Stars. We can't have it all.
They weren't nice at the time, but now, with the retro kick, they'd be great.
Classic vintage. Let's right. So all that, Joe, is a long way to get to Toronto FC. We'll run through this really quickly. Again, their season starts on the 22nd, I believe. Robin Fraser, new coach. Some rumblings out of Toronto saying, well, we can't find anywhere to send Insigne, so he's back. And today, I just saw that Bernadeschi they're looking for someone to take on Bernadeschi's contract as well.
Yeah, and all reports are indicating, Jason Hernandez said the other day, yeah, they're looking to bring in a striker, a center back, and a midfielder. That's about it. So
that's it, eh?
That obviously means that there's a major overhaul, I should say, and a revamp. It hasn't worked out with those two the way we would hoped. I think it's a matter of fit. I think it was just the wrong time. And it's unfortunate. I'm still hanging on to hope that Bernadeschi can stay.
Yes.
Probably not. Well, I shouldn't say probably not. I mean, Insigne, we know, is out the door. They just can't find a feeder or somebody for him to go to sell. So in saying that, you have to make some type of signing, move, acquisition very soon. You have to make – this is Toronto. You cannot go with – we're going to go with young players. You need a big fish signing. You need something here, right? I think no one's expecting this team to win MLS Cup, challenge for the MLS Cup, be a deep contender in the playoffs. We have to make the playoffs. It's Toronto.
Yes.
You think that they have to make the playoffs. They have to do something to ensure that they give the fan base some type of hope.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get those people coming out there, Reg, if not. And so something has to give here. He's given the indication, Jason Hernandez, I believe, that 3 signings are on the way. Is it just to create a buzz? Maybe. But, Reggie, you'd have to think 2 for sure have to come.
Well, I mean, the buzz to keep TFC relevant, I guess, with a season that starts in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, I believe, or
2 weeks, 3 weeks, I guess.
2 weeks.
Insane, yeah.
So, I mean, you're still looking for players to bring in now. You would think by now that you'd have kind of your team kind of set, because you don't want to hit the ground and this guy has to acclimate himself to this, and this guy has to do that. You already want to hit the ground running, because we've seen it like it was last year. If you get behind 9, 12 points early in the season, it's tough to make it up. And then you're forced to play a last game where you absolutely need something to happen, and it doesn't happen, and now you're out again because you had a garbage start. So it's important to get out of the gates gunning, and I mean, I hope Robin Fraser has them ready, but bringing in 2 or 3 starters, I mean, Joe, that's a lot to just drop in and say, go play and let's win.
Apparently they tried to sign Shamaradov from Roma, Uzbek star, fell through. Rumor, maybe. Apparently Sebastian Javinko was trying to help, in the negotiations. I don't know, but it's been a relatively, other than new coach, new coach. And we haven't heard anything. Like, we need something. Do we not?
Well, I 100%. If it's the same team as last year, it can't all be the coach.
So we need something to pin our hat on. So it's been a weird offseason for me for Toronto FC. So again, nothing, unless you've heard something, Reggie. Maybe I have not heard anything concrete other than they're looking at bringing in these impact players. But that's kind of of course, no, Sherlock comment. I mean, they cannot go into the season without something that is established in a plan. So I don't know. I want to have faith in them. Like you said, it's not a Robin Fraser thing. I think now it's a matter of you need to get him some personnel that's going to help him out, because he needs help on the field before he can implement an identity, who they are, how they're going to play, etc.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll keep our eye out for what TFC is going to be doing. Again, like Joe just said, 3 players need to come in. or they're looking at to bring in 3 players. We'll keep our eye on it, and we'll discuss in shows going forward. Let's move across the pond to Europe. 2 big games last weekend that we didn't get to touch upon. The end of a transfer window where your team actually spent a lot of money, or maybe not spent a lot of money, but got a nice haul of new players into your team, and let one go that shouldn't have been there in the first place. And then we'll talk about something that I heard on TalkSport. I thought it was interesting because we always bring this up, either whether we're talking in our own personal lives or even at the bar at the end of the game, at the end of the games that we play, pick up and personally or in leagues. So we'll talk about that at the end. But let's start I think we want to start with the FA Cup, actually. You got the greatest team in Europe that I've been told. The best team in Europe just lost to the worst team in the championship. So can stuff happen? Of course stuff can happen. Right, Joe? Stuff happens.
Well, we just want to say the magic of the cup. Now, if you're a Liverpool fan, so yes, we're talking about Liverpool losing 1-0 to Plymouth Argyle. It's a great story for Plymouth Argyle. It's great for them. Now, to be fair, Liverpool didn't really. But again, this is Liverpool. I know.
You can put out the C team. You should beat the last place team in the championship.
Yeah,
no?
definitely, especially if you're Liverpool. So I think Liverpool fans will only defend it with fans of other teams. So I get that. So down deep, I think they're angry, pissed off. They wanted to go. They wanted to win this. No doubt.
Well, it's part of the quadruple, isn't it?
Yeah. So I guess they're in the Carabao Cup final, and I understand that. So it's just it was weird because a lot of the players he did totally turn over with the club. But again, with the team, but yes, yeah, for sure. You would peg Liverpool to win this. Now, it was a total barrage, but that's how Plymouth Argyle would beat a team like Liverpool. You're not going to expect them to boss the game. They're going to get a penalty. They scored it. They're going to get a chance. They scored it. And then just hold on. So it is the magic of the cup. It is why it is the best domestic cup. Right, Reggie? I like it. I mean, it's a great story. How much did that mean for Plymouth Argyle and their supporters to do that? That's pretty cool.
Well, as a supporter, especially for a team like that, as a supporter, those are the games you look for. Those are the FA Cup games you're looking for. You want to play City, you want to play Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, the big teams. You want to play them.
Yeah.
It's at some point, even Man United, you want to play that just because of the history of the name. But I mean, I'm as an Arsenal fan, I'm just looking at that. If Arsenal ever lost to Plymouth Argyle,
you'd get it.
Forget it. Everybody.
But maybe they deserve to get it. Maybe we're just not seeing enough of it. Maybe they have got it. I haven't really seen stuff on social. Maybe TalkSport.
I haven't seen anything
on Sky Sport. I don't know.
I haven't seen anything. You know what I hear, Joe? I hear the same thing you said. Oh, wow, it's the C team, the D team, whoever. That's the excuse.
And I'm not buying that.
I'm not buying it either.
If you look at their line, it's still. If I've called them the best team in Europe this year, I have. So they should have gone through and found a way. I just think as a neutral, it's a great story for that. But yeah, they shouldn't be left off or gotten off they shouldn't get off the hook for this.
Wow. They have been let off, if you ask me. I listen to the same things every day.
Maybe we just haven't. I mean, Reggie, you consume more of this the media from the UK and social than I do, for sure. I mean, they'd absolutely be having a go at Arsenal fans. And
we beat Manchester City 5-1, and the only thing anyone's talking about is some kid mimicking Haaland's celebration. That's all we talked about for 3 days.
That was a little harsh, wasn't it?
Oh, harsh. So dumb. It's so dumb.
In 2 matches against City, that's been domination, right?
You would think, but Michael Oliver does Michael Oliver things in the first one, and we ended up getting a tie out of that one. But City hasn't lost. City hasn't beaten us in how many seasons now? So whatever.
So I mean, Reg, to wrap it up for that, I mean, you would expect them to win for sure.
Of course.
I keep, I wanted to say this before, but I would love to hear what Jamie Carragher had to say about this.
Surprisingly quiet, Joe.
Well, maybe he wasn't. Did we see it? I don't know. But again,
I see everything, Joe. I see everything.
So he didn't say anything.
When Arsenal kick a ball out of bounds, I see it. I hear it. But when Plymouth are, I can't. If I have to go looking for it, Joe, no one said anything.
So I guess for me, it's great that they won. It is. I just want to keep saying it's funny, but the magic of the cup, it's funny because, our friend Liverpool Logan used to say it all the time. So I wonder how magical he thinks the cup
Very
is.
quiet, very quiet. When stuff goes wrong at other places, first guy to talk.
I'm very shocked we didn't hear anything from him, by the way. But
Yeah.
especially because even the Super Bowl. But look, Reggie, I thought that they really – that's a big deal. It's a big deal. I thought that they I don't know. To me, they still had a lineup that could have won that.
Yeah.
I will change gears in terms of – because we keep mentioning Arsenal and so on, and we talk about signings. I was really shocked. I thought Arsenal, so AC Milan signs Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord, who was doing a great Champions League season with them. It was a number 9, signs with AC Milan. Needed a proper number 9. If there's a club that's screaming for a proper number 9, it's been Arsenal, hasn't it? And I'm watching him and I'm saying, ironically, he'd be a great fit at Arsenal.
Mikel Arteta wants 3 players. That's it. Short-listed 3 strikers. If I can't get one of those 3 strikers in the summer, then we'll start looking other places. But he knows who he wants. He knows how much they're going to cost. We're just waiting for the summer to see if the team wants to sell.
And do you know who those names are, Reg?
I do.
Humor me.
Alexander Isak from Newcastle. 150 million Newcastle want. They're not going to sell him in the winter, so that's out of the question.
Right.
Benjamin Seschko from Leipzig. They're fighting for a Champions League spot. They're not going to sell their main striker in the winter. He's unavailable. Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon.
All good choices.
They're fighting for spots too, Champions League spots too. They're not going to sell their leading goal scorer in the winter. Those are the 3 that you want. I put in a Twitter or in a Threads comment. I don't mind this strategy, but when the summer comes, one of those 3 guys better be, if not 2, better be on this team next season. Because I'll put up with you can't get them in the winter. I understand how hard it is to get players in the winter, especially the best player on that team, and they're chasing. But if you go in the summer and don't get one of these guys, then questions have to be asked at that point.
I like Ivan Toney for Arsenal. I think that would have been a good one. I like all the ones you mentioned. I really believe that, and I'll talk about Santiago Jimenez. I just think he'd fit with Arsenal a lot. And I'm glad he didn't go because I'm glad he went to AC Milan. But, they took Feyenoord's leading scorer, Champions League. And I find it crazy. But I still think Ivan Toney. I don't know why Ivan Toney calls me. And
he had an interview. He had an interview with Arteta, and after that interview, Arteta said no, thank you. So I don't know what was said, obviously, but we did sound off before he went to Saudi.
In saying that, the 3 choices you have mentioned are all fantastic, and I would rate him in this. I would go Isak 1, Gyökeres 2, and Seschko 3.
Me too. Me too, but
I think Alexander Isak reminds me of Thierry
Henry.
But
do you think you're going to be able to get him in the summer for 150? If he keeps playing like this, he's going to be 200 million.
No, I think the player has a lot of say in this, and I think depending on when Newcastle finish, I think he'd be more than open to a move to Arsenal. I could see it happening.
I can only hope, Joe. Can only hope.
But I can also see, other teams coming in to kibosh that, right? So, because there will be a lot of interest for him. But I really like him. And, we've said this before when he was doing great things at Sociedad. I think it was at Sociedad.
Yes.
And in terms of, you're right. In the winter, things don't always happen in the winter market. unless you are in 8th place and you are suffering and you need to get as many new players in. And that's AC Milan.
Yep.
Santiago Jimenez. First of all, this is not an AC Milan thing, but a great signing, by the way, is Juventus. It's on loan, but Randall Koulibaly, who we've said this.
Yeah.
He's doing great things there. And if I'm Juve, really love to push to get this as a permanent transfer because he's been fantastic and he is a good player and he's got a great ton of upside. And especially in Serie A, he will be and is making the difference. So there's that. So we don't want to lose our Juve fans. Don't worry, we didn't forget about you. And I think that's a great pickup.
Well, I thought him coming in there doing so well that Dusan Vlahovic might be out on a loan somewhere, but I guess not.
I still think, I've said it to Juve fans a ton of times, I think a lot of Juventus fans agree. I still think there's a world where Dusan Vlahovic plays in this 4 kind of pronged attack, with him being the focal point in the box and just outside, with Randall Koulibaly in a wide area, Conceição, and then Yield is underneath as a attacking number 10. But that's just what I might say. But right now he's making the difference, Koulibaly, and I think he's got 6 goals, 5 goals in 3 games or something like that. The point is I don't have the exact numbers, but he's scoring at a great clip and making the difference for them. We will move to AC Milan, and they went out and signed Santiago Jimenez on, I think, for $35 million. It's not a loan; it is straight out bottom. Scoring lots of goals in Champions League for Feyenoord. What's his profile, Reg? Big, strong, but also very technical.
Yeah,
clinical finisher, and he's had 2 appearances. I think he's played 76 minutes total, 75 minutes. He sets up João Felix. Talk about him. 1 goal and scored a great goal to close out the game against Empoli. So they get Santiago Jimenez, Kyle Walker at right back, João Felix on a loan, which the player has said he wants to stay here. Idolized Kaká.
It's only been there for a week, and he already doesn't want to go back to Chelsea.
Yeah, he grew up idolizing Kaká and Rui Costa, and yes, because that's who we remind. Like, it's been 2 games. Everybody, calm down.
Yeah.
But again, good trend. Kyle Walker for me in Serie A is intriguing because not many have his pace and experience, combination of both, to be that, I would say, important. In the Premier League, it's Formula One every day, every minute, every team, top to bottom. In Serie A, there's some Formula One races. You understand? So some games aren't at that pace. But what it allows AC Milan to do is you have Teo Hernandez, who gets up and down and is on the left side with Rafael Leao. Let's face it, they're not really doing much in the way of coverage and getting back to ensure that attacks are stopped. So on. But with Kyle Walker, and he did it with Manchester City, slots in almost like a third center back and balances the squad a bit more. Great in coverage, fantastic recovery speed and so on. I mean, dare I say that? It's his world-class attribute, right? When he was at his best. I understand that. Again, I'm saying going into Serie A. If Kyle Walker goes to another team in England or, a top team, maybe we're not talking like that. But because he's going to Serie A in this and then helping in Champions, it's a good fit, right? This is not, João Felix comes in. A couple of others they got in. So Morata out.
That's a good
right?
Subtraction, right?
Yeah, because you bring in Santiago Jimenez, proper 9. Emerson Royale's been injured, or else he would have been sold. Thank God. Davide Calabria sold to Bologna.
Yeah, was he the one that was crying on his way out?
Yeah, and again, amazing with service, in terms of his service to AC Milan, but it was time. And the João Felix thing, Christian Pulisic. I keep saying, if Christian Pulisic was, I don't know, Reggie, Spanish, German, whatever, we'd be talking.
Oh yeah,
greater. He's an American who's been undoubtedly AC Milan's best player. So this is not about because it's AC Milan. It's just the fact that they have 4 big signings.
Yeah.
There's other two. They got a lot that go a little bit under the radar. Ricardo Sotil, an Italian winger from Fiorentina, who's always done very well, comes in as some good coverage. Noah Okafor goes to Napoli. And they also bring on William Bondo, French midfielder from Monza.
Mm-hmm.
Brings a little bit more of that strength in midfield, athleticism. So
are all of these purchases, or like where did the money come from?
Bondo's a purchase. Santiago Jimenez purchase. Kyle Walker purchase. Loan with option to buy, which I think, and the only one is pure. I think, of course, the loan is Joao Felix, and that's one they're going to try to keep.
Yeah.
So what's the point, Reg? I keep saying this, everybody. It might be a lot, but it might be too late. But it does say that, hey, if this is going to happen, of course, the goal is you got to finish top 4, got to get that Champions League spot, which 3 teams vying for it, 4-point difference. You'd hope that maybe they can get that. But it's a true sign to say, hey, we are going to try to do something. And again, if Conceição has his preseason and the season were to start again, you'd say that they'd be one of contenders for that. So
where are they in the league table?
In a land far, far away. They certainly they currently sit 7th to 8th, Reggie. That's where they're at. And they're 4 points out of a Champions League spot, but it's not looking as bright as we think. But there has been a turnaround, and for some reason, and again, the last derby, Inter really was hard done by. They hit 3 posts, and so it was a 1-1. In the end, Inter ties the game in the last seconds, but deservedly, I would say. And here's the thing: I think they just provide. AC Milan's problem this year has been not beating the smaller teams.
Yeah,
and that's not saying, oh, they're just unlucky. No, they're not unlucky. That's a mentality problem. Conceição has said it. So now I don't want to totally go on the Milan thing, but it was an intriguing mercato, they call it in Italy, Italian, an intriguing transfer market that has proven to be, hey, giving them a jolt. But I will say that in those many signings that they made, I still think the Koulibaly one is still, a great shot in the arm for Juventus. But we move.
Not really much as far as transfers go. Like we mentioned, December, January, winter, very tough to get players. Well, not for AC Milan apparently, but It's very tough to get players, quality players that are doing the business for their own club. So it wasn't really much of a big transfer window as far as, the leagues that I follow. I know we talked about it last week, how, Manchester City can lead the $200 million transfer haul in a season with what they're going through. I don't get it. Well, they obviously spent the most. I don't think what did United do? United addition by subtraction got rid of Antony. Rashford went to Aston Villa. These are all loans, so no one's really spending the money as far as purchases in the EPL. I don't remember seeing anything major happening in the Bundesliga or the French league either. So I don't know if they even need a winter transfer market, Joe. I think you should just extend the summer to maybe September, and then you can do June to November going through the next year. I don't think they need a December one. The December
can't agree with you this year.
So. The December one is just it gets in the way, gets people's heads turned, players' heads turned. Is he going? Is he staying? Is he going? Is he staying? So I think they should do away with it. But again,
it's a little hard because you're right, Reggie. Like a player could be playing literally, and then the next day he's gone. Or or is he going to dress or feature because he's going to get hurt via the Emerson Royale, right? So about to sell him, plays gets hurt. So it does. But I just think it creates such a buzz, and it gives an opportunity for teams that potentially didn't get it right. How about for teams that potentially could make a Champions League spot, can save themselves from relegation? So I think change in that sense. This is European football. You know that it takes a long time for that. So probably not. But like I said, I do hear what you're saying. I understand that, but I don't think it's going to change, Reggie. I think
Oh, I know it won't.
part of the fabric, but
It won't change. That's where the money's made for some of these teams and mostly the agents. So it won't change. But Joe's listening to Talk Sport the other day.
yeah,
And interesting argument. It was an argument. It was a very interesting argument. I've clipped it up and we'll play it for you shortly here. I know I've sent it to you just to listen to.
yeah.
We'll talk about what we think about it. We'll play it right now, and then we'll discuss what it means going forward.
Fans want to see Manchester United in the Premier League challenging.
Right. So I want to
That's the
see
bigger picture.
I want to see that too, but I would also quite like to see the women be supported.
Good.
To get the
But
chance.
it's not.
But you've just said that people don't care. People do care.
It's not important compared to the bigger picture.
No, the bigger picture is having
It's
a
not.
future and then being valued.
It's not. I'm not going to sit here and lie. It's not.
No,
Right? It's not.
It is if they've
It's not.
clearly got. Oh, stop being like that.
I'm not
Honestly,
being, I'm telling you the truth. It's not.
You sound like a proper dinosaur. That is obviously your spirit animal. The way you sound on this morning.
Yeah, well, Shaban.
I don't know why you're speaking like that.
You're kidding yourself on.
I'm not kidding myself on. Alan, stop. Like, listen to yourself.
You're
There is a
kidding-
project.
I don't have to listen to myself. You're kidding yourself on.
Well, I would say
That's unbelievable from you.
It's
Shaban,
not.
Guys, you're the one with a granddaughter playing football.
Yes.
Listen to your language right
Shaban,
now. That's important.
the
I
men,
watch it as well, okay?
Oh, so but it's not
But the-
important in the long term.
Not what we're talking about here, Mission Impossible 21 years.
Unbelievable.
It's about Manchester United getting back, taking on
And I've
Liverpool,
did you-
City, etc.
And I've said that, but then don't disregard the wider picture of involving the women.
Shaban, you're getting carried away again.
well, Alan, I do think, to be fair to Shaban, that the men's football obviously is like a lot bigger, isn't it? But the women's football definitely needs help as well. So I think that is
Of course
part
it
of the plan.
Okay, so that was Alan Brazil speaking to his co-host Shaban Adharan at Talk Sport with Gabby at Longhorn in the middle, trying to be peacemaker. Listen, Joe. I unfortunately I understand what he's saying, and we're not saying that women's soccer is not important. What I believe the point he was trying to make, and maybe he made it badly, was that when we speak about Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, what team comes to mind when you're talking about those clubs?
Yeah.
It's the men.
Yep.
Right. So I don't think he's not saying that the women's football is not important. I think his co-host kind of just trying to make it seem like it is the most important, and unfortunately it's not. It's not that way.
Yeah, I think it was lost in his methodology, and I was saying it.
Yeah.
I think he's saying right now, that's what you think of, and so on. I think the host, the female host, was trying to say, hold on a second, what are you saying? Like, she was trying to lead him there, say, okay, maybe it's not where it should be, or we've made gains, but you do recognize that it is getting there, and there needs to be changes. And I think that's where it was lost.
Yeah.
Because I think she was trying to give him an out to say, hey, but it could get there. We are getting there. We've made strides. And he's like, no, it's not about that. And I think that's where it gets lost, because right now, although strides have been made, and the league, the league in England has got a lot of players, international players. It is the league, along with the NWSL, that has that.
Yeah.
But I think it was just lost. He was almost poo-pooing it, and I think that's where the female
Kind of disrespectful, right?
Yes, because yes, you could say, well, no, it's not at that point yet. And when you think of United, you think of Arsenal, you think of City, you think of those, the men's teams right now. And yes, but are we getting to a point where it's gotten better? Of course, but it's still, when you say those names, because they share the same club, you're still thinking of that. Is it short-sighted not to address and look at and acknowledge that the female game has made leaps and bounds, and commercially, I don't even mean by the product, but which has obviously gotten a lot better, and the play is top-notch. But look no further than the WNBA, Reg.
Yeah.
Because of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and you can't say that. Can we say that, it's on par with the NBA? No. Can we say that it's come leaps and bounds in terms of people that are interested to watch? Yes, the numbers tell us that.
Yeah.
So has there been a rise in spectators and consumers in women's football? Yes. But the way that it was translated there, I felt for Gabby Agbonlor there, because he's trying to say, okay, wait, do you see what she's saying? Like, and so that's where I think it was lost. So no one's saying that it's on par because of viewership. And, when you think of Arsenal and United, you're thinking of that. And I think that's where the female host was a little bit, she's like, hey, you're poo-pooing this. And I think she was trying to save him, and I don't think he wanted to be saved.
Yeah, well, if you've ever listened to Alan Brazil, he's not one to
shy away from his
take the life jacket or the the donut. But
it almost seemed like she wasn't having that conversation anyway. He made it into men's.
Well, it started with they were talking about Manchester United and how they're going to get back to prominence. And then she brought up the women's team, and he was just like, "No, it's not about the women's team, though. It's like when people talk about Manchester United, they're talking about the men's team. They're not talking about the women's team."
Yes,
and then that's how they got into the why? You're saying that the women's football isn't it? And I don't think he was trying to say that, but I think it just came out that like he's just a very blunt person. He's like, no, it's not. That's not how it is. So, hey, believe me, I'm one of these guys. Listen, if it wasn't for Arsenal men's team, I wouldn't watch the women. I wouldn't. But now, if the women's game is on and Arsenal are playing, I'll watch.
And I think it has to look at. Well, we all have to look at where we are in this. Are we in a better place than we were a few years ago?
100%, Joe. 100%. Right? Even more of the national teams are getting better. It's not just the United States anymore or Brazil that are taking over. Canada's in the mix now. Sweden's in the mix now. Switzerland's in the mix now. So I mean, you have a lot of just because of the growth of the game, you have a lot of better female players starting to come out, and they're good players. So, but at the same time, I understand what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
So
the initial point was understood, but
yes,
you could see, Reg, how that could be chopped, clipped, put a certain way, exactly. And then we don't give him the benefit of those.
That's right. If you guys want, you can go. I think it was last Tuesday's show. You can go back and listen to the whole thing, how it started. I know I just clipped a little bit of it for time's sakes, but I think I got the essence of what he was trying to say, and we did. I think we did a good job of explaining it as well.
So, at the very least, talk sport those things are so entertaining too. So anyway.
Wow, there's a lot of I don't know if you listen to it, Joe. There are a lot of clowns on there too. So, but it makes it fun to listen to, because you just know that there's a guy there that's never won anything in his career, and he's telling you how to win stuff. It's funny. It's funny.
I think it's a particular Chelsea fan. I think
that's right. That's right. That's right. So, Joe, I mean, another banger of a show. 45 minutes in.
Yeah.
No Champions League this week.
No, Reggie, there is Champions League. There is not for Arsenal, but there is. No, because guess what? Your team didn't need the playoffs.
That's right. Yeah. So is that this week?
That is tomorrow with a
beautiful
banger of a matchup.
Beautiful
playoff round. Manchester City versus Real Madrid.
Watched Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid on the weekend. Cracker of a game. I don't know if Man City plays the way they've been playing, they might get 8. Yeah.
So that's a 2-leg playoff, and of course Juventus, PSV, Sporting against Borussia Dortmund, Brest, and this is obviously Brest and PSG in a French derby, and of course Micah Richards' favorite team, and in Brest, and then you got to see the clip.
Yeah.
Club Brugge against Atalanta, Monaco Benfica, Celtic, Alistair Johnston, Bayern Munich, Alphonso Davies. So a Canadian derby there.
Wow.
Who would have ever thought? Amazing. And of course, Feyenoord v Milan. So that's on Wednesday. So those are the first legs, and they go the following week. So
it's a juicy matchups, man. Juicy matchups, man.
There you go. So Real Madrid City. So you're going to go with Real Madrid. How do you bet against Real Madrid in the Champions League, especially this year in City? So there it is.
The only thing that I'll give you is City didn't play this. Did City play this weekend? I don't believe they did.
Oh, they played an FA Cup and almost lost and won 2-1.
Okay, so they might have been able to rest players, but the Atletico Real Madrid game was a 1-2 in the standings, so no one was being rested for that game. So, and that was a battle, Joe. It was a battle.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the legs gone again for another game on Wednesday and then another game on Saturday in a tight La Liga race as well.
Yes.
I don't know what you're gonna get from these guys, but this is what they get paid the big bucks for, right?
So we'll talk more about that next week, I guess. And we will review the first round of the playoff round, if you will.
For sure we will. When Arsenal's not in the Champions League, I just think there's no Champions League. They're on the beach and they're on the beach in Dubai. So
team is too good right now.
Not for some, Joe. Not for some. Yeah. So guys, again, if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, we are on YouTube. We are on all popular platforms that you use to get podcasts. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We are on Amazon Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, Player FM. We're on iHeartRadio. There's no need for you not to be subscribed and listening to our podcast. We talk about things that are going on in North America. We talk about players that you should be watching. How many players, Joe, or coaches have we mentioned early, where people are just getting on? That guy's pretty good. Long time. We've been talking about these players for a long time. Yeah. This is where you need to get your news from. Trust me. Joe, what are you looking forward to? Well, I know what you're looking forward to now. We just mentioned it. Anything else you're looking forward to this week?
Yeah, those Champions League games for sure. And again, the Canadian angle, right? Celtic and Bayern Munich. That's pretty cool. Alistair Johnston and Alphonso Davies for sure. That's
could they be marking each other? Could they be marking each other?
Well, yeah, because one's right and one's left. So yeah, they could be interacting. I'm sure Alistair Johnston doesn't shy away from any battles, knowing Alistair, and of course he's also come out and said how dynamic and how great Alfonso is. So it's good. It'll be nice to see them in that. But who would have thought 2 Canadian kids playing for 2 of the biggest clubs in the world in the best competition club-wise in the world?
And that's how you grow, Joe. That's how you grow.
That's right.
So guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week.